spoke to you, we were heading from Tenby to Milford Haven. Unfortunately, on that sail, we had a problem with our jib. It wouldn't fill properly and it was really sticky. This can be really dangerous at sea, so we had to stay in Milford Haven for a few days and make a repair. The footage that follows shows you some of the work that we had to do for that repair. So this is our furling gear. As you pull it out, it's getting really sticky and it gets stuck, and it does the same on its return journey. So Alan is currently in the cockpit pulling her out, and we are going to take the whole of the forestay down. So the forestay is this bit that goes all the way at the front with the sail on it, all the way to the top, and the forestay needs to come down because there is something called a furling system. So in the centre of the shot you can see the furling system. There's a piece at the bottom and there is a piece at the top, and the top furler, the ball bearings have gone and is causing it to stick. So we're ordering a brand new one and we're going to change it. The risk that you take when you loosen your stays is that the mast will fall over. So if we're trying to take off this bit here, we have to adjust these stays that come down to the boat. You see the guys doing that to release the mast, so the mast tips forward. And so what we have to do is use lines like these to hold the mast forward, and we have a set at the back going the other way to hold the mast back. And this should stop the whole thing falling over, in theory. Bit nervous. So here we are trying to adjust our rigging so that we can take our top furler off. So at the moment we've got David from Yacht Quiller and Alan counting the turns on the bottle screws while we release the tension on the mast. Okay guys, how are you feeling? How's the job going?
No, you're not videoing, are you?
I am videoing you.
I'm feeling great because it's not my problem.
We can see now that we've got the new top swivel on by Alan's shoulder, and the guys are just working towards how they're going to reattach the entire of the forestay back into the air. It's a one-line instruction in the booklet. It's the worst part of the job. This is part of the reassembly process. So we're now trying to mount some of the bolts so that they're partially in the correct position, so it's much easier to put together.
Okay.
Well everyone, we didn't manage to get the footage from us putting the foresail back in position. It took 3 of us to complete that job. It was a big job and it needed a lot of hauling and pulling and getting it into place, but it did go really well, which meant that we were able to complete our journey and head off from Milford Haven to newer sailing areas. But before we show you that footage, there was a little bit of footage of Alan shaving his beard off. We got him to do it in stages on time lapse so that you could enjoy the show and see the many different looks that he created. You let us know which ones you think are the best looks. It'd be really fun to see what you think. Personally, I really like him without a beard at all.
So when we were putting on the top furler, replacing the top furler the other day, I gave Tish 6 split pins in a jar, and she jumped off the boat and I heard her say, "Oh no," and I really thought she dropped the 6 split pins, but in fact she'd only dropped her phone and a bank card. So we then spent about a week replacing her phone, mainly because we bought a second-hand phone from CEX, was it? And Game from Game, and we couldn't get it to work because it had either been stolen or reported lost, so it was on a blacklist. So we then had to sail to Carnarvon so that we could get to Bangor so that she could replace the new phone, which had been stolen or lost, with another new phone, which we could then put the SIM card in and use as a phone. And then the bank card had to go to our home address, and then Lily came to Carnarvon and brought the bank card. So it's been great fun. But I have to say I was very relieved that she didn't drop the 6 split pins.
To be honest, that was your main concern.
It was my main concern.
When I dropped it, all I heard was, "Oh no, what have you done? You haven't dropped the split pins."
And mercifully she hadn't.
It was just my whole life in my phone.
Plus all the video of us changing the furler.
Yes, so
that's
some
why
of it's
you've got
missing.
me talking to you now rather than some interesting video.
In order to get to Carnarvon to swap the block phone that we'd bought, we need to start by sailing from Milford Haven to Dale, then through Jack Sound, across St Bride's Bay, through Ramsey Sound, up the North Pembrokeshire coast and anchor in Fishguard. The advantage of going through Jack Sound and Ramsey Sound is that it's a shortcut which takes about 3 hours off the passage. The disadvantage is that you must time it just right or it can be quite dangerous. Both sounds are quite narrow, so that any tide that's running tends to accelerate through the gap, which means we'll either go through in an uncontrolled way, risking getting dashed against the numerous rocks, or not get through at all because the tide against is too strong. So we need to time our passage at slack water for both the sounds. Slack water at Ramsey Sound is an hour after slack water at Jack Sound, which gives us an hour to get across St Bride's Bay. We're just approaching Jack Sound. That's the sound there. We have to get here at 3 hours before after high water Dover, so that we just take the north going tide through the sound. It can get very, very uncomfortable in here, so the timing through the passage is very important. And we need to time it so we can get through Ramsey Sound, which is across St Bride's Bay. So all slightly confused to see just as we're entering the sound. Quite a bit of swell. These are some of the rocks in Jack Sound. There's a lobster pot, great place to put a lobster pot right before the entrance of a notoriously difficult sound. This is Tish helming us through Jack Sound. I would stand up, but the boom is flapping around like mad, so I'm just gonna She's helming and she wants to be director. Can you believe it? Multitasking. There's an incredible difference in sea state between as we approach Jack Sound from the Milford Haven end and now we're in St Bride's Bay. You can see there's a marked calming of the sea, and should be a nice setup.
This is Ramsey Sound, the following sound. We're going through this gap. You can see Aquila there with the yellow dinghy on the back. And when we head through the gap, we'll cut off quite a lot of sea miles, which we always like doing. But we get these amazing views of the coastline on the way around. I mean, the seascape is just stunning, and there's all these beautiful caves, rocks, islands. This morning, we're not really seeing any sea life. The views are still amazing. We're heading to Fishguard, where we're going to anchor for the night, and then hopefully the next day we will get up quite early and head across the bay and head towards Pwllheli Marina. The wind is possibly going to blow up, but right now you wouldn't believe that. It is so still. We've got some wind, but it's behind, so effectively it's like having no wind at all. But it is a lovely calm morning. Very happy to be out enjoying this day. I hope you're enjoying the footage that we're taking. You can see here some quite sharp rocks that are sticking out. But I think my favourite bit is probably this house here. Who wouldn't want to live on a house close to the shore, watching all the ships go by? It looks amazing. The land we can see on this side is St David's Head, so it's the most westerly tip sticking out at the bottom of South Wales. I've just come past our sheet. Now there's a rib excursion going on, and we are heading our way through the Sound. I don't know if you can see him. There's a seal in the water this morning. He's just playing. There he is, bobbing his head up and down. He's right off St David's Head as we're passing through the Sound. He's having a lovely time.
Here we are anchored off Fishguard. We're in the lower harbour. That's the northern breakwater, quite a long breakwater for the Ro-Ro ferry. And then that is the eastern breakwater. And then as we come round, this is where we're anchored. Quite a nice anchorage.
We woke up on anchor this morning to see this little cheeky chappie. He's on some sort of float and he keeps looking at me in the cockpit. Don't know when he arrived, but he seems very happy watching all the boats in the anchorage. We're making our approach to Pwllheli, and this is St Tuddle's Island. It's quite pretty. There's a little passage through there. And this is the view that you get as you make your approach. So going all the way around. So Pwllheli's sort of ahead of us. Let's come past this sail. Then you've got the beautiful Snowdonia mountain range all around. It's such a stunning view.
This is Pwllheli Marina. The wonderful thing about this marina is that you've got these amazing mountains in the background. Fantastic vista when you think you're this close to the sea and that close to the mountains. Really lucky.
If you follow our Instagram page, you'll have seen we have 2 folding bikes on board. We use these to great effect in Pwllheli to explore the local beach and the spit of land at the front of the marina. The beach had some lovely sand dunes with this flowering sea holly creating a really pretty display. And at the end of the spit of land we found a fantastic holiday park where we sat for lunch and enjoyed the views. We could see the Snowdonia mountains and all the way across Cardigan Bay.